Hi, I'm Chris, welcome back to FRAG-MENTAL, thanks for joining me. One of my favourite designer fragrance releases from last year was Le Sel d'Essai from Issey Miyake. We now have a new version. The Eau de Parfum has just been released, so in this video I'm going to unbox it, give it a sniff, let you know what I think and compare it to the original. Stay tuned. This is Le Sel d'Essai, which was released last year. It is in EDT. The perfumer is Quentin Biche, and this was a real pleasant surprise for me because often when we smell another aquatic sea salt designer release, we start thinking it's probably going to be generic, it's probably going to be something we'd smelled before, but then you think, well, Quentin Biche has made this, so maybe that's not what we're gonna get. And we didn't get that because this is a salty, very mass appealing, very wearable fragrance, but there's something in here. There's a little bit of, I don't know, Biche magic maybe, because it has a lovely bit of density, a bit of body to it, which I wasn't quite expecting from a salty, fresh, marine, aquatic fragrance. Yes, it's fresh and salty and zingy. There's ginger in here as well as the salt. Both are playing really nicely, giving this nice sort of fresh, spicy, aquatic feel to the scent. But there's more going on than that because it lasts longer. I think it's grounded in some cedar wood, so that's maybe helping to give a bit more of a robust quality to the fragrance, a bit more depth, because that's certainly what it has for an EDT, and it lasts really nicely. So you get this lovely zingy, salty, aquatic marine accord in the open, and then as it dries down it becomes smooth and sensual and really lasts on the skin. So that's just the EDT. So I'm excited to smell the EDP, and thanks to my friends at the fragrance shop where you can now pick this up, they sent me the new EDP, which I haven't yet smelled, so I'm gonna get it out of here. They actually did send me the shower gel as well, so I get to make Sel d'Essai even more aquatic. So let's just get this EDP unwrapped and see what the differences are. I will do a direct comparison to the EDT once I've given this an initial smell. Sometimes when an aquatic salty fragrance becomes an eau de parfum, I worry that maybe you'll lose the sparkle, maybe you'll lose the magic that an EDT can have, which goes hand in hand with it being a fresh aquatic fragrance. Can an EDP be as fresh and aquatic? Will we lose some of that magic sparkle, or will it still have its own little bit of magic? So I gotta say, this is an absolutely stunning bottle. It's similar to the original, but I think the cap is slightly different and there's a gradient on the glass. This is so sleek and elegant. It's got to be one of the nicest designer fragrance bottles. And you know what? Not even just designer, all fragrance bottles, niche included. This is sleek, this is beautiful. On the shelf, this is bordering on being ornamental, I would say. So that's just the bottle. Let's give the fragrance a little spray and find out what we're dealing with. I do know what the additional notes are in this. Good sprayer on that, by the way. Do we get the character of the original? There's definitely the saltiness, which you would hope from Le Sel d'Essai. Not as fresh or zingy. I'm not sure if the ginger is still in here. It's not really that evident. If it is in here, I wouldn't say it's very prominent. Maybe it's been dialed down a little bit from the original. It wasn't a dominant note in the EDT, but I'm getting even less of it here, if anything at all. So as you would expect from an EDP, it's even smoother, even deeper and richer. I know we always say that for EDPs or parfums, but you know, they're good descriptive words that give you an idea of what the differences are, and that's absolutely what I'm getting from this. So if the original evoked an ocean, perfectly calm ocean on a lovely sunny day, this one for me evokes the ocean on a not so sunny day. Maybe it's a little cloudy, maybe it's a little stormy. The sea out there is looking a bit more mysterious, a bit more ominous, more grey rather than blue, because we've not got blue sky reflecting on the surface of the water. Maybe there's like some rocks down there in a cove, a really dramatic ocean setting, and there's waves crashing onto the rocks. So it's moodier, it's deeper, it's more assertive. It's got more attitude to it, I would say. Just off this first spray, to me, the saltiness isn't quite as prominent as in the EDT. I will compare the two in just a second, but it is a smoother overall profile. So I have looked at the notes for this fragrance, so I know that there's incense, I know that there's oak moss, so these two things are providing more depth to the fragrance. I always say incense gives a mysterious quality to a scent, some depth, and something a little bit mysterious. And yeah, I'm definitely getting that with this. If I didn't know there was incense in here, I certainly wouldn't smell it and think, yeah, this is an incense forward fragrance. I don't think it is incense forward. Of course, Quentin Biche really knows how to work with his frankincense. After the Amouage releases we've had, Purpose 50 is just an incredible creation that is really incense forward. This isn't like that. I would say it's drier. There's a drier, woody spiciness with this, almost like the smell of wood in a sauna. When you're in a sauna and you smell the wood heating up, that warm, beautiful, comforting sort of woody smell, not smoky, but just in a sauna, the wood's heating up. Let me give this a little comparison with the original, because yeah, I feel like I'm not getting the sea salt as much as in the original, which I really do like. I really enjoy the salt aspect of the fragrance. So here's the EDT. Yeah, much fresher, zingier. The EDT is maybe just a little bit saltier, but I always found the EDT smoothed out and settled down anyway, so perhaps even the EDT does lose some of its saltiness as it dries down. You know what I was saying about comparing an EDT and then an EDP version of that same fragrance, that with the EDP you might lose some of that shimmer, some of that sparkle, a little bit of that freshness. I think that's the difference between these two fragrances. Not to say that the EDP isn't as good, you are losing some of that salty, marine, aquatic sparkle and freshness, which I love about the EDT. The EDP is really nice. It's just giving you something different, some of that mysterious ocean with the incense. There's some extra masculine depth with the slightly green oak moss with this one. If the EDT is a daytime beach or summer fragrance, I'd say the EDP is maybe more of an evening summer fragrance. It's got something a little more sensual about it. This could even be worn on a date night, or even now we're about to go from this transition from summer into the beginnings of autumn. This one is definitely equipped to deal with that, because it is more robust. It has the heavier notes with the incense, with the oak moss, even more cedarwood, I would say, than with the EDT. So as we're moving slightly into cooler months, but you still want a little bit of that salty, marine, aquatic, not as much as the EDT, but still you just want a little bit, but you want a fragrance that plays more into the colder temperatures, then the EDP is going to do that. So this is the perfect timing, I would say, for this fragrance, because we're just about to, well, I think we've pretty much lost the summer, although we still might get a few warm days, but as the days are getting colder and we still want little flashes, little memories of our sea salty, fresh summer. I went to the ocean a couple of times, so it was sea salty fresh. So if I want just little glimmers of memories of the summer that I've had, then this is great to remind me of that, but then transition me into the cooler months as well. Just further comparing them a little bit, I do get something maybe a little fruitier. I don't think there is fruit in here, but just a fruitier profile to the EDT. The EDP doesn't have that. It's more woody and incensey and mossy. It's a slightly more grown up, slightly more robust version of the EDT. They are different enough to be able to have them both. They're different fragrances, I would say, doing different jobs, but there's certainly a connection. They are definitely flankers. Probably the perfect flanker, because it does connect back to the original, but it's also doing enough of its own thing to make it worthwhile having both fragrances, I guess, if you wanted to own both fragrances. It isn't just a slightly denser, stronger version of the EDT, because I would say in terms of strength, they're probably both pretty similar, just from what I can tell off this initial spray, because it's got some additional notes, so it's got a slightly different scent profile as well. So it isn't just a slightly richer copy of the EDT, definitely a different fragrance.
If you love fragrance as much as I do, head over to my online store, luxparfum.co.uk. You'll find my favourite brands, plus brands you can't find anywhere else in the UK. Link is in the description.
So I've just had a few minutes, I've let this dry down on my skin a little bit more, and it really is developing into something beautiful. That warm, woody quality of the cedarwood is really warming up with my skin. It's drawing me in, and I'm really enjoying this. It has an extra little bit of class, an extra bit of sophistication. It's maybe a little more mature leaning than the EDT. I think pretty much anyone could have worn the EDT. This is not quite as youthful. It's a little more grown up. It means business a little bit more. This is a fragrance that you spray on, and it's a little more impactful because it's got that extra weight. It's got a bit more gravitas to it. All right, that's going to do it. That's my first impressions of this and a little bit of comparison to the EDT. Obviously, I can't really comment that much on performance at the moment. I feel like longevity will be good. I think it's going to last on the skin. My prediction is maybe it won't project quite as much as the EDT because it's not quite as effervescent and lively as that. Maybe not as diffusive. It's maybe going to go a little closer to the skin, but I think it will last just as long, if not a little bit longer, maybe project a little bit less, but that's something that I will have to update you on down the line as I've worn this fragrance. But my initial impressions are of this that I think it's beautiful. I think this is another great release from Issey Miyake, another great release from Quentin Biche. We can always expect something good from Quentin, even when it's a designer release. I know he can really let rip with his niche stuff. He can create something with amouage and not pull any punches, but that is not for everyone. Sometimes that's too much. Purpose 50 is a big fragrance and it's too big for some people. It's too much. If you like something that's not quite as out there, not quite as attention grabbing and statement making in a really loud way, then this might be a Quentin Biche fragrance that really works for you because it's still noticeable, it smells lovely, it's refined, smooth, sophisticated, mass appealing, but it's really, really high quality stuff and a beautiful blend on this one. I'm thinking this is going to be a hit. This is the 100 ml bottle. You can grab this from the fragrance shop for £106. The 50 ml is £78, and both the 50 and this 100 are refillable fragrance bottles, which is good because once you have this lovely bottle in your collection, you never have to throw it away. If you love the fragrance, you can just keep refilling it and it will last as long as you want it to last. So far, it's a thumbs up from me. Really enjoying this. Let me know, have you tried the new EDP yet? Did you like the EDT? Are you looking forward to trying this? If you've got any thoughts, any opinions, I'd love to hear from you because I'm a fan of this Le Sel d'Issey range and I think this is going to be popular enough that down the line, maybe we're going to get a parfum as well. So we'll have to see what that's like. But any thoughts, any comments, drop those down below. I would love to hear from you. I hope you liked the video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you do all that, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.